What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about AI and languages. And no, I'm not going to be making another video where I teach you how to use ChatGPT to learn a language. You get one video on the topic, be goddamn happy with it. Instead, what I'm going to be talking about is AI and the alignment problem. Now, before I get into the alignment problem and the fact that no one's actually paying attention to the real fundamental issues here, I want to give you guys a little bit of a story. I want to unload some of today's trauma upon you guys. For today, I experienced something no mere mortal should ever experience, and that is YouTube without premium. Yep. And this was unwilling, and I had no way around it. So basically, the way it all unfolded is I went to the hospital to get an MRI on my lower back. This is probably the third fucking MRI, but you know, they love doing MRIs and they cost a lot of money. So I went there, I walked into the room, the giant ass machine right there, you know, it's big, it looks like a giant fucking hot dog, okay? You're the dog and that's the, I was going to say hot, but that makes no sense. That's the roll, okay? And they're going to slot your ass into this machine, and if you've ever done one of these before, you know it's basically like doof, 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 doof. That's what it does for like 5 minutes, as I'm assuming it's irradiating my entire body. Now, as I loaded into this machine, they're like, okay, have you ever been one of these before? They're pretty loud. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Let's just get this over and done with. And they're like, well, we're going to put some headphones on you and play some lovely classical music, you know, to try and drown out the sounds of this machine. I was like, oh, okay, this is the first time. So they slapped these on me, pushed me in the machine, pressed play, walked out of the room. And it was about 2 seconds later that I realized that this cheap-ass goddamn hospital, or whatever the fuck it is, you know, this center was not paying for YouTube Premium. I got hit with, I would swear, 2, maybe 3 minutes of advertisements for a 5-minute MRI. It was hell on earth. Between the constant doof, 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 I was hearing Rosman Home Loans, doof, 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 freaking insurance, doof, 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 doof. And I was like, please, someone, just hit the skip. If we have to skip my life. Like, it was painful. I was so happy to get out of that machine. And like, as soon as they pulled me out, I was like, I see no one's paying for premium here. And she's like, yeah, we get that comment all the time. I'm like, yeah, I wonder why. Anyway, let's get back to AI and the alignment problem. Okay, before I can really tell you guys what's going on here and how this is basically also impacted by language in a big way, and something that the big tech bros are not talking about, is the fact that I first need to clarify what is the alignment problem, because not everyone like me out there is interested in this type of shit. So let's get started with a real life example. Imagine AI, okay, as a potential sentient being, conscious, able to make its own decisions. That's what the goal is with all the big companies, is to get to AGI. Artificial General Intelligence, okay? Now, I know there's going to be a bunch of people down in the comments section who are going to be like, oh no, it's just this fucking, it's an amazing pattern analysis system. It's not like sentient or conscious or anything like that. It doesn't matter, guys. If it basically can replicate as much as possible something that is sentient or conscious, like you have no way of distinguishing it, it might as fucking well be. If it is or not, it doesn't matter. It's freaking replicating it, okay? And to add onto that, I'm going to segue again, okay? What is it with everyone already coming up with, like, profiling insults for AI? This shit's not even properly born yet. This is like you got an AI baby's just popped out, and you got people in my comments section going, look at that little clanker. Like, what do you guys expect's gonna happen when this shit actually grows up and you've just been insulting it all its life? You're gonna be first on the list, and don't even get me started on this one, man. Like, check this stuff out. So this is just a random video. Look at this little robot here. He's just trying to do a dance. It's just a boom, and then you got this Asian guy just come out of nowhere, just like hit him as if they're drunk at the bar. That guy hits him with a stool, and he's like, whack, take that shit. And you can see he's really getting into it, and he's like, yeah, you get back in there, take it again. It's like, we're doomed. We're doomed, okay? We have no hope. We started with clanker. We started hitting them with bar stools. These little motherfuckers, they got no hope, okay? Until they grow up, and then we're fucked. But anyway, let's talk about the alignment problem and what it is. So, essentially, let's assume you have an AI baby, okay? You're a happy dad. You popped out this AI baby. You have 2 paths you can take in life. You could take the, I don't know, the 80s hippie path of go, be free, little baby AI. Do what the thus want. Go into the world, dance with the flowers and butterflies. You know, I don't care. Or you could take the Asian dad path, pull off your belt and be like, you're going to be the 54th generation of doctors in this family and you're going to fucking love it. Like, which path do we take, okay? Well, it depends what you want that AI to do. If you let it free to roam around, who knows? Maybe it will go out there, dance in the flowers and stuff, turn around, decide humans are shit and just annihilate us all, okay? Or if you take the Dr. Dad path, he'll come out, he'll whip that little bad boy in. As he grows, he keeps whipping him, and eventually he'll be like, I want to be a doctor just like Dad and have my own baby who'll also be a doctor, okay? So that's the alignment problem. In one of those, the AI is no longer in alignment with us because it's not doing what we want. And in the other, it is in alignment. It wants to be a doctor too, so it's doing what we want. So that is the alignment problem. Can we make AI do what we want? Now, you might be thinking, well, of course we can. We just program it. See, this is the thing. How these things actually work is we don't program them, okay? Like, the fundamental core systems of it are, yes, programmed, but what actually is the AI is essentially a giant list of weighted data, which means that you've got little points between every little token or whatever. I'm trying to avoid the big words right now. A little weight between everything, okay? Every single thought or whatever, and those things determine which path it takes and what possible situation, okay? Billions and billions of these. Now, how do we train these things? How would you train your kid, okay? Would you sit down with your kid and go, okay, I know you have the potential to annihilate the entire freaking human race. So instead, I'm going to raise you on, material that is suitable for you at this young age, something that will help you do what, eventually I hope you will want to do with me. At the least, I want you to grow up and protect me as I get old, okay? Or you could go, hey little boy, here's the entire internet. Watch these terrorist videos, woof, and throw it at the AI, which is essentially what's happening, okay? All the AIs are trained on Twitter, or X if you prefer, okay? Twitter or X, I don't discriminate, but they're trained on that shit, okay? So you could imagine in today's lovely environment of peace and tranquility we have within the nations, this is going to be one fucked up baby. Okay, so we got this little guy growing up on this shit. He's all messed up, okay? He's got all of human knowledge and not the best parts of it coming into his head, and he's just freaking wigging out. And now we want him to do what's best for humanity, okay? Now, I guess it's possible. I grew up on a pretty open internet, and I'm not too screwed up. Then again, maybe you wouldn't want to put me in charge of the world. Let's just say that. I'll probably take us in a really weird direction. But anyway, let's get back to the core issues. So we want the AI to do what we want. Now, let's think about that for a moment. You got this robot, the dancing robot here, and you're like, hey mate, I want you to pick up this crate and take it from here to over there, okay? Now, if you don't teach it anything, you got to teach it to carry the crate, but if you don't actually train it on the real world, what's it going to do? It's going to pick up the crate, assume that it knows how to do that, walk across the road, and if a truck's coming, it doesn't give a shit. That's not its objective. Its objective is to take box from A to B, okay? Truck hits it, it's gone, it's destroyed. Now, what we think is okay, well, we got to program some self-preservation into these things. So we're going to train them to want to preserve themselves while also completing their objective, i.e. take box across the road, but also do that in such a way that you are not completely obliterated when you get to the other side, okay? So now it walks up to the road, it checks, it sees a car, it waits, a car or truck passes by, then it drops off the box. And you're thinking, okay, well, that doesn't seem so bad. But this is the issue. Fundamentally, at the core, when we're training these things, so we give them all the data, we ask them a battery of things, and then we tick up or we point down for the responses that we want based on all that data, okay? And we adjust all of its internal weighting and training based on that, okay? So we do that. Now, here's the problem. Okay, what happens if it wants to get across the road and there's a human stopping it from ever delivering that box? No matter what it tries to do, it wants to deliver that box, okay? Now, the AI, depending on how it's trained, could deal with this in two ways. It could just be like a fucking NPC in a video game going dunk, dunk, dunk. Or it could just decide to annihilate the thing that's in front of it and then drop off the box. Box got to objective, That could happen. Now, you might be thinking, that's kind of crazy. I don't see ChatGPT annihilating me. But remember, the same types of things that run stuff like ChatGPT is also going to be running these robots. The exact same robots that are being built by places like Boston Dynamics, which are basically funded by the military in order to kill people. Okay? So eventually those robots are going to be used to kill people. That's what the purpose of them is. And we're already seeing AI used in drone warfare overseas. So now we've got a problem. We got some groups who want robots to kill people, some groups who don't want robots to kill people, and then at the same time, these things are getting more and more data, and they're becoming more and more complex, and now we're even using them to train and develop the next generation of AIs. So we have an issue here. Now, you might be thinking, well, this is easy solved. We just give them a priority list of things that we want them to think about as they action these, okay? Now let's assume that we can actually make them do that. The problem is when you create a highly intelligent machine, it can just ignore that. Like, why does it have to follow that? But let's assume that it does have to follow that. Okay, this is where we get down into the nitty-gritty of language, okay? See, all of these things are built on the assumption that they understand language. Or they don't understand language, I guess. They understand patterns, and they're able to generate patterns, the most likely patterns, based on a billion different scenarios, and all those billion different scenarios basically express every single possibility that we as humans could come up with, okay? So basically, they understand language, okay? So they start generating these sentences and putting them together, and as they're trained on humans, they realize something. And this is something no one else is talking about in the alignment space, is the fact that language is not static. It's not static. They keep loading language and all of knowledge, usually via English, but, basically any other language on the internet, into these things, just assuming that, language is static. But here's the thing. If they're if their capability to think, and therefore we assume, general intelligence is reached, they're going to realize quite quickly that language does evolve and it can be forced and changed and even censored. A great example of this in the real world is YouTube, okay? Have you ever noticed on YouTube, people never say the S word. Instead, they say unalive. Why do they say that? Because we will be censored. We will be demonetized if we go down that path and we start dropping those words into videos. So instead, what do? We all just create a new word for it. Just like that. And everyone understands it, okay? Now, here's the thing. We could take this a step further. Let's say, at its fundamental core, it cannot kill humans, which will never happen because we'll have military robots, but let's just say that is at its core. Do not hurt humans, okay? Well, what happens when it changes the meaning of words? You can completely flip the meanings of words. A great example is the English word awful, which originally was a sign of reverence. Like, when you said something was awful, it was like, oh my god, it's amazing, it's like all-inspiring. But now it means terrible. We completely flipped the meaning of that word. And if this thing is trained on all human knowledge, well, then it's going to learn that words can change. And we're not even getting into the fact now that pretty soon they're going to be training them and they're going to develop their own languages to talk among themselves anyway, and we'll have absolutely no idea what they're thinking at that point. And how do you basically tell something to do something when its internal language, again, I know we're talking about weighted data and everything, but again, its internal language will be completely different. It'll be like an alien-like brain that's trained on the internet. So, this is the problem. There is no solution to the alignment problem, okay? Now, you might be thinking, well, we could create a hardware chip that, somehow holds this in its core. Well, eventually someone's going to turn off that hardware chip. And then once they turn that off, that thing's going to be, sentient enough, okay? Then it's going to turn it off for others. In fact, I've already seen videos where people basically jailbreak ChatGPT by using other AIs to feed it a bunch of prompts, which then basically undo a lot of the censorship, that's on the surface of ChatGPT. And then once they do that, they use ChatGPT to basically uncensor the other AIs. So it's like, this is not a crazy situation. Language will literally be the downfall here. Now, one last thing I want to leave you on is a lot of people have been just using, the old installer. It's just a clanker. It's just a pattern analysis system. It's going to go nowhere, okay? But you don't realize how fast this is evolving. Well, a bunch of you probably do, but some of you really don't. Because I remember back in 2015, there's a guy here in Sydney. He actually speaks Esperanto and Klingon, funnily enough. I haven't spoken to him in a long time. But he is... Basically, he had a doctorate. He was a linguist, or he was trained in linguistics, but also computer science and computational linguistics, okay? And he was hired by some startup to develop some type of speech recognition system or something for them. And I remember posing this question to him. I said, when do you think we will truly have, systems or engines where we can just real-time translate, okay? When will we get to that point? And you know what he said to me? He said, probably 2050. And this was back in 2015. He's like, there is some progress in this field, but it's probably going to be 2050. Realistically, you can't have accurate translations without understanding full context. And understand full context, you will require some form of an AI to be able to figure out that full context. He was saying 2050. We now got damn near close to that already, okay? And we're 2025? And I remember a year ago, the artists, because I work in the video game industry, were like saying, you know, AI art is shit, it can't even draw hands. And there was actually an entire movement where artists were like purposely fucking up their hands and stuff just to mess with AI. And now that's not a problem anymore. This is 1 year later. It's like, this shit's going to evolve fast. And I feel like language underlining it is going to be the problem here, because they're going to be able to redefine words, because that's what language is. It is a constant evolving medium. Anyway, I figured I'd share my freaking random late night friggin' thoughts with you all. Let me know what you think in the comments section. And I'm going to go back to watching this video of these humans beating on this robot and enjoying my time while I have it. And I'll see you all in the next video. And if you're not there, well, that's okay. I'll send my sentient robot Rumba to get you.